All right. Welcome in, everybody. Nice to be here. Welcome to the podcast tonight. Appreciate French fries. Good to see you, my friend. Haven't seen you in a while, or at least on any comments. Good to see you guys. Appreciate Kyrox. We have a good one tonight, guys. We got a good one tonight. So come on in, because I'm going to give you my thoughts on today's topic on the pipe bombs. Now, before we go any farther, we're going to listen to Jake Tapper. Now, I'm going to wait for everybody to come in, but I want everybody to be honest with yourself. How many people forgot about the pipe bomber? Did we forget? January 6, 2021? Who forgot? 4 or 5 long years. 4 long years. We're going to talk about that tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Also, we're going to talk about the homeless once again, of course, and also Minnesota mob. And not the mob that you're thinking. Another kind of mob. We're going to talk about that. And we're going to talk about the big welfare problem in Minnesota and Tim Walz, the governor, and what the hell's happening over there, and what Ilhan Omar has said about MAGA. Yeah. She said something very, very bad about MAGA. I don't like it, and you shouldn't either. Thank you for the donation right off the bat, Don. I appreciate that so much. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. All right, we're gonna talk. I got a lot to talk about. Okay, we're gonna talk about it. And we're gonna talk about this Jake Tapper mistaken an African American from a Caucasian. Okay, it happens. It happens sometimes, right? And this didn't happen years ago. This happened just yesterday. Yeah, so you know Jake Tapper, CNN. So we're going to talk about that in just a little bit. Come on in. We are going to talk and see what the hell is going on with Jake Tapper, and how the hell did Jake Tapper get confused on calling an African American, mistaking him. And just go before I go any farther. This is not about a black or white thing or Italian or Puerto Rican. It's about Jake Tapper. He didn't accidentally do this, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to talk about it. He's hypnotized because the left, they want to make like, stay with me, this is important. They want to act like they care about African Americans. They act like they care about transgenders. They act like they care about gays. They care about Italians. They don't care about anybody. So he's already got in his mind, Jake Tapper, that, you know, we're going to come out and accuse a Caucasian. Now, we've seen all crazy people do this kind of stuff, not just blacks or whites or Hispanic or gay or Italians. We're going to listen to Jake Tapper. This here aggravated me a little bit, Ozzy Cross, because this here, you know, he is. And one more thing before we go and listen to this. Do you know CNN and the left can't they just come out and say, great job, you got the pipe bomber, we messed up. They don't even have to say that. You know, great job. Great job. They don't even have to say Trump. They can say Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, right? Judge Jeanine. She's actually pretty nice looking for her age. She's nice looking for all ages. And why can't they just come out and say congratulations? No. You know what they're saying? Oh, we don't like the way you handle it. You handled it wrong. You embarrassed him. Are you kidding? Ladies and gentlemen, the Democrats have lost their mind. How the hell did they embarrass the guy? He lived in the suburbs. The guy went to the Democrat-Republican headquarters in 2021. We don't know if he's a Democrat-Republican, but I'm going to tell you, guys, you have to stick around because I dug deep on this guy. I dug deep, and we're going to talk about what I thought, why I think he did this. Brian Cole Jr., a 30-year-old white man, African American, and a young black man, took his frustrations on Republican and Democrat headquarters. For those who might have forgot, I don't blame you. I almost forgot. So, and for those who don't know, January 6th, this young man, he went to the Democrat. Let me just read something here. He went outside the headquarters of the Republican Democrat headquarters. And by the way, Kamala was very close by. I'm sharing this with you, and I'm a conservative. How come CNN don't share this? Kamala was nearby. So we're going to get into why he did this, because I heard some really close, really good sources on why exactly why he did it, who is his family backing up. You'd be surprised, so stay tuned. Who his family was supporting. A lot of you might know, you might not, but we're going to get into that. And man, I'm going to get into this Omar in Minnesota shit. What the hell's going on over there? So stay tuned. Ozzy, what's going on? All right, let's listen to this.
After nearly 5 years of investigation, the FBI finally announced that they had arrested a suspect accused of planting pipe bombs near the Republican and Democratic National Committee headquarters the night before the January 6, 2021 Capitol attack. Brian Cole Jr., a 30-year-old white man from the D.C. suburbs, is charged with transporting...
A white man. Ladies and gentlemen, this wasn't 4 years ago. This wasn't 3 years ago. This was yesterday. He, on his defense, their program on CNN to come after Caucasians. It's just the way it is, okay? And let me just say this. This is not about black. This is not about white, Hispanic, gay, because we've seen piece of shit Luigi Mangione, Italian. We've seen blacks, we've seen whites. These are sickos. But don't miss my point. Jake Tapper is hypnotized on a script what to say. And they're posted, he is always supposed to start off with Caucasian. By the way, he looks at the suburbs, beautiful home, you know, and this is why Trump says fake news. And meanwhile, the Democrats are coming out. I thought for sure they would say, great job, but no, they don't. They're actually saying, why were they so rough on the man? What do you mean rough? The guy, and by the way, thank God they didn't explode. How many in the chat forgot about the pipe bomber? Did anybody? Because I remember back then they thought it was a woman. They had a mistake. It could have been a woman. I heard it could have been an Asian. I heard it could have been all types. They just never knew. Why? We're going to get into that. Let's listen. This guy, Jake Tapper, what a piece of shit. Beautiful suburbs, hardworking family. But what was this family really doing? What was this family? Who were they helping? Anybody want to guess in the chat? Don't Google. Who was this man, Paulie? Who was this young man, 30 years old, Brian Cole Jr., African American? What did his family do? What was their business? You'd be surprised. And ladies and gentlemen, before I go any farther, they never thought that Donald Trump was going to win. This is what's happening, folks. And it's only the beginning. They really thought that Donald Trump, our president, was going to lose. And now this is coming out. Now, a lot of these might come in, and respectfully so. Shout out to Betty and Joe and Stanley. A lot of these might come out and say, well, they just 4 years missed it. It's a cold case. Sometimes cold cases, you know, they just never. But 4 years, the Democrat headquarters, Republican headquarters, and you mean to tell me that the FBI under the Biden administration could not pick this up and find this young man? This 30-year-old? Yes or no? You tell me they couldn't. How the hell in your right mind tell me that they couldn't? There wasn't a new tip. There wasn't any kind of new tip or anything like that. Nothing like that. There wasn't any kind of new tip or anything like that. It was the DOJ. Now, you know, you got to give it. I'm not a big fan of Pam Bondi, but you got to give it to the FBI, Kash Patel, and Dan Bongino. You really do. Because they put together this. And they never let it go.
An explosive device in interstate commerce and with malicious destruction by means of explosion. CNN observed local and federal law enforcement outside his home. Welcome to The Lead. I'm Jake Tapper. After nearly 5 years of investigation, the FBI finally announced that they had arrested a suspect accused of planting pipe bombs near the Republican and Democratic National Committee headquarters the night before the January 6, 2021 Capitol
Thank you, Lemon
attack.
J. Good to see you.
Brian Cole Jr., a 30-year-old white man from the D.C. suburbs, is charged with transporting an explosive device in interstate commerce and with malicious destruction by means of explosion. CNN observed local and federal law enforcement outside his home. Welcome to The Lead. I'm Jake Tapper.
Well, there you go. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Jake Tapper. So you can't really blame Jake Tapper. I'll tell you why. He is taught and he's hypnotized by CNN that his ratings is falling apart. Because they're right away, they want to go ahead and they're taught to call out the Caucasian. It's not about, again, if you're just coming in, sorry guys, I got my stuff all situated here. It's not about a Caucasian. I tell you, here's what they're going to do next to Democrats. You know what they're going to start doing? They're going to start saying white Russian Putin. Seriously. They're going to start calling out Caucasian Putin. It's just the way they operate. They never used to do that in the Clinton years, but it's the way they operate as of now. See, this is a party, in my opinion, that is falling apart. Even Stephen A. Smith, I'm sorry, guys, I got some technical problems in the back here. Even Stephen A. Smith, who's not a Trump supporter, he says it's a big mess. And I purposely think that they want to lose. It's almost like they don't want to win, because I don't understand why they can't just come out. I'm not referring to Jake Tapper. I'm referring to the party and saying, congratulations. I'm glad you got the pipe bomber who could have been, a threat on American soil again. We don't care if he's white or black, but we're happy. Good evening, Whiskey Tango, that we got the person. They couldn't catch him. And by the way, they could have got him. There's no way anybody who's watching this knows that they could have got him very, very easily. Okay, they had 4 years. I could see a year, I could see 8 months, a year and a half, but they had all this time in the world. You can't blame Biden. Biden didn't know what day of the week it was after the first 6 months. So don't blame him, rule him out. But you know why they didn't want to say nothing? I'll tell you why. Because according to my sources, that this young man and his family, they had headquarters. They were helping out. Here we go. Getting people processed through the green cards. Oh, so they were trying to help out the illegals. So for me, I believe, my opinion, that the Democrats, some, maybe not the president, but some of the cabinets at the time and people knew about this young man. Because there's no way they couldn't get leads. The DOJ and Kash Patel knew. They highlighted his sneakers. He had a very unique pair of sneakers, right? They had the best of the best. You can't go anywhere today and do anything wrong with cameras. There's no way. You see the images, right? We all see the images. Did you guys see the photos of him? Very clear, right? Look what they did with Luigi Mangione and other people. So for me, they knew, but they held it back. See, the whole problem was, guys, if you're just coming in, I'm Sal, appreciate being here. The whole dilemma is this. They really thought that Joe Biden or Kamala were going to beat Donald Trump. They never thought they were going to see President Trump, right? That was their fear. Now all this is coming out. There's going to be more stuff coming out. And by the way, guys, if you're just coming in, I know a lot of people are talking about what's going on right now. And a lot of people forgot about the pipe bomber. A lot of people. We're talking about the pipe bomber if you guys are coming in. This was a problem. This happened here. This is a cold case. After 5 long years, they arrested the pipe bomber. This was a 30-year-old African-American, as Jake Tapper on CNN supposedly accidentally didn't really look at him and assume he was a Caucasian. Okay, but he was an African-American, right? All types of these people do this, not just African-Americans. Let's get that clear. We've seen all types of people. It doesn't go by your color or what you look like. We've seen attractive looking ladies. You get the message. So here's the problem. Everybody's saying, what was the motive? What was the motive? Because he took he had it in the Democrat headquarters and the Republican headquarters. And by the way, you're hearing it from here. Supposedly Kamala Harris was only a couple blocks away. Okay? And for me, this changes my thoughts on Dan Bongino. As a lot of you know, I was a big fan of Dan Bongino. I lost a lot of respect. I don't care if he's Italian, half Italian, whatever the hell he is. I lost a lot of respect because he didn't go to work on that Friday with that whole thing with Jeffrey Epstein files. Now, past that, I lost a lot of respect. He just gained a lot of respect back from me because, Dan Bongino, Kash Patel, they might have saved their ass. I believe they were working on this for a long time. They just needed to get the facts. And they went into the suburbs and they had an eye on this man. They knew, that he was African American. They knew he was between 25 and 35. He was 30. They knew he was in the suburbs. They had it, and now he is caught. And they got him yesterday. And the Democrats will not come out at all and say, you know what? Great job. You'll never hear them say that. Never. You won't ever hear them say, good job. Or not even good job. How about thank you? I'm glad you got this piece of shit off the street. You won't hear them say that, the Democrats. And that's what's sad. Very sad. So Jake Tapper, CNN, says, pipe bomber yesterday was a white guy. He never came back after that and said, oh, I'm sorry, African American. I never heard him say that. He just continued with the news. So apparently the family actually owns an immigration bail bond. Okay, just coming in. The family of this Brian Cole, this African American 30-year-old, the family owned this immigration bail bond. Whoa! So that explains a lot of stuff. And I think for me, the Democrats, that's one of the reasons why they stopped it and went as a cold case. They figured that we would forget about it. Epstein files came out. A lot of things happened between then and now, right? And now look where we're at right now. This is where we're at right now. It took, once again, Donald Trump to bring down the bad guy. Whether it's American, a person living here in America or Afghanistan or somewhere else. Once again, Trump is cleaning up and trying to keep us safe. And the Democrats just keep on turning, literally doing this. Turning their back and not worrying about. Think about that. They are turning their back on the American people. Very, very sad. This is really, really, really sad that they couldn't even acknowledge and say thank you. Because you know why? They know they could have got him. They wanted to go to sleep and protect. And that's where we're at. All right, read some comments here. Oh, we got over here. Democrats want to destroy America from the inside. Absolutely. Absolutely. The Democrat Party of now. Absolutely. I got some messages coming in here. Hold on one second, guys. All right. Don't Peak, how are you? Good to see you. New party in the U.S.? Yeah, it's the American Party. Whoops. Hold on, guys. think the internet went out. What? Yeah, guys, I don't know what the hell's going on here. Maribel, I didn't do anything. All I did was I hit the button and it. I don't know. We'll try. Well, you want to try? Hello, hello, hello. Anybody here? Says 0 people. Now it says 32. Now back to 2. Now 0 people watching. I don't know what the hell happened. Somebody just said here, so it looks like it's back up. Hello, hello. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Ozzy's still here. Okay, here they are. All right, we're back. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. It showed 0 on my end, and then it showed 32, 34. So I don't know. Now it looks like it's back. We had about 75, 80 earlier. All right. Yeah, anyhow, we're back. So we're going to listen in to the press conference of yesterday. See what the hell, in case anybody missed it here.
I've been in the same situation, and instead of a HELOC or a personal loan, my husband and I decided to get a home equity investment with a company called HomePack. They gave us cash for a piece of equity in our home without monthly.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. As you all know now, early this morning, Brian Cole Jr. was arrested and charged with placing the pipe bombs at the RNC and the DNC on January 5th, 2021. He has been charged with violating 18 USC 844, which is use of an explosive device. This investigation is ongoing. As we speak, search warrants are being executed, and there could be more charges to come. I'm going to let our U.S. Attorney discuss that shortly. This was the work of multiple agencies working together. This morning's operation was carried out safely and successfully. We know that there are so many issues when you're issuing search warrants. Dangerous things can happen, and this was carried out safely and securely thanks to all of the people standing around me. They have worked tirelessly on this. Today's arrest happened because the Trump administration has made this case a priority. The total lack of movement on this case in our nation's capital undermined the public trust of our enforcement agencies. This cold case languished for 4 years until Director Patel and Deputy Director Bongino came to the FBI. The FBI, along with U.S. Attorney Pirro and all of our prosecutors, have worked tirelessly for months, sifting through evidence that had been sitting at the FBI with the Biden administration for 4 long years. Let me be clear, there was no new tip, there was no new witness, just good, diligent police work and prosecutorial work, working as a team along with ATF, Capitol Police, Metropolitan Police Department, and of course, the FBI. We are working every day to restore the public's trust. We hope that today is a significant step towards that progress. We'll share more information when we can and when it unfolds. I cannot stress enough how hard Director Patel and Deputy Director Bongino have worked for months to make our nation's capital safer and to make our country safer. I'd like to introduce now Director Patel.
Thank you, General. When you attack American citizens, when you attack our institutions of legislation, when you attack our nation's capital, you attack the very being of our way of life. And this FBI and this Department of Justice stand here to tell you that we will always refute it and combat it. We will provide the safest country the nation has ever seen under President Trump's leadership here. And that's what we did here today with great resolve on a case of massive public importance, as it should be. An individual who is now alleged to have placed multiple explosive devices to blow up multiple people and multiple officials, innocent civilians, is now arrested thanks to the brave men and women of the FBI and the interagency. I want to take a moment to thank the Metropolitan Police Department, the United States Capitol Police, our brave prosecutors, the Department of Justice, and our leader, Attorney General Pam Bondi, and U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro, whose relentless work on this case made this possible. As the Attorney General said, we did not discover any new information. What we did, an investigation spearheaded by the Deputy Director and the ADIC of our Washington field office, brought in a new team of investigators and experts, re-examined every piece of evidence, sifted through all the data, something that the prior administration refused and failed to do. As a result of that, we generated numerous investigative leads, executed multiple legal process with our U.S. attorney partners, and came to this conclusion today. And that is why we were able to safely secure this individual into custody. Remember, we are dealing with an individual who is alleged to have made bombs. We cannot do this sort of takedown in haste because it endangers the lives of law enforcement. And this FBI will never allow the lives of law enforcement and our prosecutors to be put in jeopardy. This execution was flawless in terms of teamwork, resilience, and just a good old-fashioned way of police getting the job done. When you let good cops be cops, this is what happens. I'm eternally grateful to the team behind me, to the leadership at the FBI who made this possible. But I do want to highlight, when I introduced the deputy, he made this case and so many others, including Summer Heat, his priority to come in here and solve it for the American people. And today, I'm proud to stand here before you and say, we solved it. He will have his day in court. The American public and the world will learn even more information through the legal process. As we have committed under this Attorney General, we are the most transparent law enforcement operation in U.S. history, but we are also going to make sure accountability is delivered to its fullest extent. And that happens in the courts of law with our U.S. attorneys and our prosecutors. So we will divulge information when it is prudent and constitutionally permissible, while upholding the safeguards of this case to make sure that the people that this individual intended to victimize get the accountability they deserve, and most importantly, to deliver on President Trump's promise to secure our nation's capital and the rest of the cities in this country, to make sure that Americans are allowed to go out free and securely in their neighborhoods, and that people around the world are allowed to visit our nation's capital, and they now have that trust thanks to the leadership of the FBI, the Washington field office, and I'm honored now to introduce to you Deputy Director Bongino, who spearheaded this investigation.
Thank you all for being here for this critical investigation we've been working on for a very long time. We deeply appreciate it. Thank you for the kind words, Attorney General and Director. I appreciate it. Folks, this is what it's like when you work for a president who tells you to go get the bad guys and stop focusing on other extraneous things not related to law enforcement. This is what happens. We had a great team. I know it's said a lot in this business. It was a team effort. It becomes cliche, but cliches are useful for a reason because they matter. And this was a team effort. The director and the attorney general emphasized that it was not a new public tip this was our internal work at the FBI. And I want to just really express my sincere gratitude to this attorney general and this president for allowing us the latitude. I spoke with Ms. Bondi very early when we, maybe day 2, and I said, we're going to get this guy. And she said, yes, you are. And we did. I want to also thank, he's not here, but Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, who we deal with often as well, who could not have been more supportive. Whatever process we need, Judge Jeanine, Todd, and Attorney General Bondi, they were there. All you had to do, they were a phone call away. And their team was amazing. We actually never had to make that phone call because they were always responsive. Thank you, Judge, as well. You were amazing. Folks, you're not going to walk into our capital city, put down 2 explosive devices, and walk off in the sunset. Not going to happen. We were going to track this person to the end of the earth. There was no way he was getting away. Well, we didn't have to track him to the end of the earth. It wound up in Woodbridge, Virginia. I want to thank the team. They were amazing. They never let this go. Again, Attorney General Bondi, for your incredible support. Director Patel, Judge, I know they're giving me a lot of unnecessary credit, but make no mistake, they were intimately involved in this and were there for all of those supportive mechanisms, and I deeply appreciate it. The man whose team did the work is the Assistant Director in charge of our Washington field office, Darren Cox. Darren's got some comments, and Darren has some more details on the case he can provide. So thank you all for coming. We appreciate it.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Darren Cox. I'm the Assistant Director in charge of the Washington Field Office. Today's arrest of the alleged DC pipe bomber is a momentous day for the American public, for the FBI, for our Joint Terrorism Task Force, or the JTTF, and our partners, the U.S. Capitol Police, Metropolitan Police Department, and ATF. We've also had a large number of other federal, state, and local departments that have worked on this investigation. And last but not least, the U.S. Attorney's Office. We all worked hand in hand to solve this investigation. This has been a long week in D.C. After the terrorist attack last week, the grit and determination of the FBI and our law enforcement partners is an example to the American public of what cooperation, partnership, and selfless service can accomplish. The amount of effort the FBI and our partners devoted to identifying the pipe bomber cannot be overstated. It is the resolve and determination of our investigators that ultimately led to the identification and the arrest of this suspect. We all know pipe bombs are dangerous, not because of the potential loss of life,
Whiskey
damage
Tango,
to property,
thank you so much.
or injury that they can cause, but also because they are tools that terrorize our community. Fortunately, these bombs did not
Whiskey
explode,
Tango, thank you.
although
Thank
they
you so
certainly
much.
could have. But make no mistake, the alleged pipe bomber did terrorize our community.
So
Today's
we're listening to a great team here. You know, I criticized Pam Bondi. Paul, thank you so much. I've criticized Dan Bongino. I don't care who you are, if you're conservative or Italian. I don't care if it's me. And I criticize them. But I think this team, for me, I got to say, I got to put it, because I think they actually fumbled the ball on the Epstein files. I'm not going to get into it, but you know what? They worked hard, and they got rid of another bad guy off the street. And I wish I wish all people would just say, great job. Whether you support the cabinet, Donald Trump, don't support it. We took a bad man who could have done more crimes. And we took this young man, whether he was white or black, in this case he was African American, off the streets. And once again, for just coming in, Ken Big Fish, appreciate the membership. This was Jake Tapper, we were starting off, who misstood and called him a Caucasian. They're programmed to say these things. It's all what the CNN fake news does. Once again, they found this guy. It took them not too long, where the Democrats had 4 long years to get, and they knew. Trust me, they knew exactly who this guy was. Maybe they didn't know in the beginning, but they knew. And they figured that Trump would not win, and they got caught again. They knew who this guy was. Trust me, 100%. They think that we're stupid. That's the whole thing, the Democrats. And I'm not referring to the Democrats that are coming on here, but in general. And there's we got another guy off the street, because they put together this team. They all work together. I'm sure they're having some problems behind the doors. When I say them, Pam Bondi and Bongino and Kash Patel and Judge Janine. But they work together as a team, and that's something more to say than the previous administration. They did not work together. They worked together as a team. They worked together as a team to let all illegals come in and cause these kind of problems, okay? I'm not saying that the Democrats told this guy to do that. Obvious, I don't believe that, because I've heard people say that. I don't think so. But what I'm trying to say is they should have worked, as soon as they did this happen, they should have worked as hard as Trump did and his cabinet and got this guy Palin. And they didn't. They left their guards down once again, and that's why the Democrat Party is finished for a very long time. I keep saying that. If you're new, appreciate you. Come on in. And that's why you have the party as you have now. And in other news, real quick, we're going to talk about that. Hey, tell you what, guys, I have something else I want to talk about. I don't know what's going on the live. Maybe it's just, Palin, thank you. I don't know what's going on. We normally have a lot more in. My son is saying there's been problems with YouTube. So what I might do, because because I do want to talk about this big welfare problem in Minneapolis and Minnesota, and all the frauds going on. I want to cover that topic. I was trying to cover both, but again, the YouTube here, see, now it's back up to 54, still not as high as what we normally get. So I don't know. Maybe it's the person doing the podcast, so maybe it's that simple. But anyhow, we're going to continue to talk about a little bit of this topic here. Thanks, Mike. And along with the Minneapolis and all the fraud that's going on. Also, we cover the homeless, so we're going to get into the homeless. I want to get a GoFundMe raised. Me and I hope he doesn't mind. Me and Mike were talking about it. Our moderator, we're talking about. I have to put it together first, so hold tight. And get a Facebook together for Sherry. I usually don't do this, but Sherry hits me very close. It is because she's a 87-year-old woman, maybe because I lost my mom. Don't feel bad or anything, but she's a hard worker her whole life. But anyhow, I got to find out. I couldn't find her today. Sherry, if you're new to the channel, is a homeless lady. We can't help out the whole world. This one touches me because I feel the sadness in her for losing her husband and wants to get to California. So we're going to try to work on that. But I tell you what I'm going to do, guys. I'm going to log off. I don't like the way this live stream is. Again, maybe it's just my thumbnail. Maybe it's my podcast. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. And I'm going to try to come on a little bit later, and then we're going to cover more of what's going on in Minneapolis. Thank you all so much for your donations tonight. Again, I don't know what the hell's going on, but we're getting close to 40,000 subscribers, all because of you guys. And thank you so much, 40,000. But for 40,000 subscribers to have 39, 40, 50 in a chat, I don't know. It doesn't seem right. So I think it's some kind of glitch. So I'm going to log off and come back on and see what happens. If it happens again, then I guess it's me. Take care, guys. I'll see you in a little bit. Give me about 20 minutes. We'll see what's going on. Yeah, this don't make sense. Thank you, guys. I'll come back on. 40. Right back to you, Paulie. Thank you. And that's that.